Gamers only want one thing, and it's disgusting. It's Sinkhole. Sinkhole is what gamers want. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Terry has asked me to go back to an older age of Legacy, a more civilized age, where we hymn to Tourach our opponent and Sinkhole their land. I have been tasked with building a classic mono black deck that goes and uses a lot of those cool cards that many of my audience members probably really enjoyed playing with when they started playing Legacy. And then some of the people in my YouTube comments are going to come in and say, Sinkhole's older than I am, and my bones will turn to dust. Now, we need to do a little bit of modern power creep here and throw in some like Modern's Horizon Fire Design cards to round out the deck list, but the core of this deck is very much the old school mono black core. We've got Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Sinkhole, and Hymn to Tourach. And given where we are at in the current metagame, I was also asked to include main deck Graveyard Hate. And so we are going with 6 pieces. We are going to have Dauthi Voidwalkers as well as Spellbomb in the main deck here. So our goal is to be incredibly interactive for maybe the first 3 or 4 turns. We can power things out with Dark Ritual if we need to, but generally speaking, we've got various discard and removal spells and land destruction spells to go and just keep our opponent from doing their thing. And then the goal is to stick 1 card and hopefully win the game with it. We are going to take a decent amount of damage in the early game, both from creatures and from some of our own spells, so the end game of this deck is Shouldered plus the One Ring. We are seeking to draw a bunch of cards with the One Ring, plop down a Shouldered, draw a bunch more cards, gain a bunch of life, and then, hopefully do One Ring Fogs while getting some chip damage in with Goyfs or something like that to round out the game. Now, I'm going to admit something up front here. We are trying to fit a bunch of cards into the deck for this deck building challenge. So if you look at my creature count here, it is low. And it's low because we are trying to do this Sinkhole and Hymn stuff rather than have cards that look like this that are additional threats in the main deck. So we are a little bit constrained by the challenge, but this is a pretty reasonable pile of Magic the Gathering cards. I'm not overly worried about it. Now, Terry asked for 2 conflicting things in the deck as well. Terry wanted both Phyrexian Obliterator and Wasteland in the deck. And I recently played a mono blue league, it'll be sometime this week for you all, where we saw, even with double blue and triple blue pips, having Wasteland in the mana base is problematic if you wanted to cast a blue-blue or blue-blue-blue card. So when we are at black, 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 black for costs, like, we either can't play Wasteland or I need to start throwing Urborgs into the deck. And we're going to play a rock-solid mana base of a gajillion D swamps, 1 Take Numa so I can make fun of it being worse than a basic swamp when I draw it, and a Castle Locthwain to kind of round out the card advantage alongside the One Ring. We are a little low on lands at 19, but as far as mana sources overall, we are at 27, which seems fine to me given that we are a One Ring deck. Other than the sideboard Obliterator, the sideboard does have a little bit of spice in the Filigree Silex. Let's drag that over here for a second so you can see that better. So this is Ratchet Bomb with 1 more ability. The downside of this card is that it's legendary, but the upside is that you can remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice it to deal 10 damage to any target. And so if the game is going on and I don't have a win condition in sight, but my opponent is soft-locked out of the game, maybe we can rip 10 counters off of this and do something cool. It's somewhat unlikely, though. You kind of have to play the removal spell dance in building decks like this. We lost to a pirate the other day for playing Shoot the Sheriff, so we're going to lose to an Urza Saga Construct token today by playing Go for the Throat. The 2 mana removal spell options are all fine, but they all basically miss something or have some other downside. There is one where you can pay 3 life or discard a card to just destroy target creature or planeswalker, and that is a fine choice as well. You can also do things like Dismember, but Dismember is life loss in a deck where we already are going to be doing some things that negatively impact our own life total. So nothing is perfect is what I am getting at. So we have a flexible sideboard here in that if we know one of our cards, like say Sinkhole or Him or the removal spells, aren't going to be good, we have some pretty decent generic cards that I can board in to round things out. So let's see how this plays. I am eagerly awaiting my package to get here from toamagic.com. I've got the second half of my Kefka Court Mage coming to me. I think it is arriving today. I used promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on my order, which was a pretty sizable amount of savings when you order half of a deck from a retailer. TOA is great. Check them out. Use my promo code, support me, and support some good folks who love Eternal Magic. With that being said, let's battle. All right, we are a little mana heavy here. I have a great generic opener of Thoughtseize into Hymn to Tourach, but I have a dead Chromox and a bunch of extra lands. I would keep this on 6. I don't think I keep this on 7. Yeah, I am into this. Dark Ritual Goyf into Sinkhole? I think is how I want to play this, getting rid of Chromox. Yeah. Hello, Erg. What you got cooking for us over there? Basic Swamp and a Lesser Goyf. Ooh. Well, we've got goodies. Dark Rit and Goyf. Now, big distinction here. Mine counts both graveyards. My opponent counts 1 graveyard. So mine's always going to be larger here. We have to find out whether or not my opponent is blue-black or mono-black. Seeing Scalding Tarn, that gives us the push to know that they are blue-black. Ponder will grow both Goyfs. Fatal Push is live to kill my Goyf. And it happens. I'm going to take a few points of damage. I am at 17. To drop another basic land here. I think I'm going to take out my opponent's basic island here and hope that they don't get to use cantrips and a bunch of cantrips get stuck in their hand in the short term. My Hymn to Tourach will still be live the following turn. And getting rid of an island also potentially keeps me from eating something like a Murktide Regent if my opponent is playing that. But we are seeing the cost of like playing a card like Sinkhole versus a card that just interacts with creatures. But what if more Sinkhole? Let's lean in. Keep attacking those blue sources. Opponent brainstorms in response. Bad Sheoldred noises. And it resolves. Wasteland's rough here. I was looking to stabilize the game with a 4-drop. And now I'm going to need like a Dark Ritual to deploy Sheoldred immediately. I mean, shit. Okay. Dark Ritual. 4 mana Sheoldred. That is a Force of Will, unfortunately pitching a Daze that was dead due to double Sinkhole. There's an Orcish Bowmasters. Opponent was able to continue to deploy threats around my stuff. I think if I get Wastelanded, I'm donezo. Opponent also has main deck Spellbombs, sign of a healthy metagame. Draws their card. I'm getting Wastelanded and taking 6. I don't think anything gets me out of this here. I guess we can see what that last card is. Is another Goyf. I am dead. So we now get to board in a pile of removal. So my hand disruption is noticeably going to be worse here. I am going to board out some number of these 12 cards. For the Bowmaster Mirror, we need our Bowmasters. I have 3 removal spells here. I have a couple of Phyrexian Obliterators because they are funny. Attack with your Orc Army token now. Attack with your Goyf now. And this is unimpressive. These are also not the best. Let's sort this by mana value, see what we're looking like. Slow, but pretty resilient. After turn 1, I feel like I am playing good Magic. I might just play a couple of Thoughtseizes, even though they have life loss associated with them, just to give me a little padding at the beginning of the game. This single land is not going to do it. So this hand goes and tries to resolve a One Ring on turn 2. I like Chromox, Imprint, Sholdreds, go Thoughtseize, take a counter spell or a discard spell, and attempt to resolve the One Ring. I'll go to 5. I have not drawn appropriate mana sources, to say the least. Or looking for the One Ring. Nope. Alright, I'm going to need to rip a One Ring off the top to stay in this game. Very unhappy. That's how it goes sometimes. Opponent's on a 7-card hand. They will probably dispatch us pretty quickly. Which is a shame, because I think we have pretty darn good cards for the matchup. Let's Edict. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Got it. Second land drop. Opponent passes. And we're just going to be passing. I'm probably not going to play out this Bowmaster until a cantrip goes on the stack, or my opponent plays a Bowmaster of their own. It is a Bowmaster of their own. They can shoot me, and I can shoot their Bowmaster. I get dazed. Island comes back down. Opponent gets to ponder. I'll take 2 in combat. Drop to 17. Believe! What is a daze and why would I care about it? Note that I'm choosing it to play this way, so that if I draw another land, I can cast this, whereas if I do this one around daze this turn, I can't draw a single land and play this one. Next land drop. Fetching. Opponent might need blue here. It's Fatal Push. I am at 15. We have good cards and not the mana to deploy them. We have a bunch of basic swamps in the deck, so that is not all that big of a deal. Lose my Goyf here. Oh, I lost the Shouldered. I'll take 2. Oh, it's Kaito. Yeah, that's bad. So now my opponent has a Planeswalker and has the ability to redeploy a Bowmaster. Chromox is not good at this time. This is going to beat me down very quickly. So this is 5 this turn, and then lethal next turn. An opponent had the ability to do 2 or 3 more points of damage to me there if they play out Bowmaster. If this increases by 1, they could plus this pre-combat as well. And a Goyf. And a more other Goyf. So the stun counter ability here does me in. I will concede. We had an on-game game 2. That happens. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Yeah, this is what we want. Just rock solid mana, an early disruption spell. I have a threat. Most of the interactive cards that I can draw will be at 2 mana and will kind of bridge the rest of this game. If memory serves, my opponent tends to play things in the mavericky ballpark. Confirmed. Elvish Reclaimer. I have a little bit too much top end right now. With 3 threats in hand, I'll leave swords and just take knight. That's actual factual Volrath's stronghold, by the way. Don't see much of that in Legacy anymore. Cross that out. Oh, that's discarding the Caracas. Got it. Okay. That is a great card that is just incredibly awkward right now. So I am not going to cast that. And the end step here could go a couple of different ways, ranging from Urza Saga to part of Dark Depths combo to just value-oriented things like flagstones. Oh, they're just going to put the knight on top instead. Sure. The opponent casts that. They have a swords for this Goyf, but then I've got Shouldered. I will be taking 1 here. That technically does stuff. Sinkhole not great at the moment. Goyf awkward at the moment. I think I'm still just playing it. So this can be land 2 in graveyard for Reclaimer purposes. And we'll just kind of see what all my opponent does here with their resources. Just fetching and passing. Got it. Well, my Sinkhole is real awkward right now. think I'm going to take a redraw off Spellbomb. It clears a couple lands out of graveyard. I'm just looking for a redraw on a land. And I already have a sorcery in graveyard, so I don't need to just cast one of these just for the hell of it. So Plains turns into Flagstones, and then opponent can turn Flagstones into something new. So Flagstones gets its trigger for a scrub. Then there is a Thespian stage. So we're in this very awkward position where we have Sinkhole to fight against the land-based combo that my opponent has, but being fully unable to use it because of the creatures my opponent has. My opponent had no cards in hand, so him was bad. My cards are not lining up well here. Hopefully we just do broken things with this. Get protection, draw my card, make a land drop, pass the turn. I suspect that the next turn cycle is going to go like this. At some point, my opponent makes a Merit Lage. It might be now, it might be later. I play a Sheoldred, I attempt to gain a bunch of life by drawing cards with the One Ring, and then my opponent phases out Sheoldred. That's kind of how I see this going. Knight activates. Just getting a Windswept Heath. Opponent's just filling up that graveyard. Thespian stage is copying a basic forest, and my opponent finds Yavimaya. Sylvan Library. Hello, Sheoldred. Yeah, I have protection. So I'm going to lose one. I'm going to attempt to do the Sheoldred thing. Oh, my opponent has turned all my lands into bayous. Attempt to do the thing. Ooh, I got to do the thing. That is perfect versus Merit Lage. And this very importantly puts me to 22. So now I have an answer to Merit Lage if my opponent does it. I've got some stuff for their Sylvan Library as well. There's the Dark Depths. There's the Thespian stage copy. And now, please sacrifice a creature token. Opponent does not have an Elvish Reclaimer activation showing to do something crazy like phase it out. Got it. Short-term problem dealt with. What are you doing? If you had Swords to Plowshares, you could stop me from gaining 4 life. And it's like a really big deal. Yeah, so Sheoldred has 4 power, so if my opponent swords earlier in the turn, they take out Sheoldred and they stop me from gaining the 4 life like this. So instead, I got 8 life off of my Sheoldred instead of 4. That is an Echoing Deeps. Opponent's just going to crash in for damage. That means that Sinkhole is online this turn. I'm not sure that that's something that matters, but it is. So, start here for sure. Sheoldred, attempt to gain 6 life and draw 3 cards. Ooh, it's Bowmasters. That can't kill my Sheoldred, but it sure can mitigate my Sheoldred life gain. So I'll go to 10. I draw 3. So active players' triggers are put on the stack, then non-active players are put on the stack. I did not draw any removal, unfortunately. So I go down to 7, then gain a bunch. Chrome Mox, Imprint him, Sinkhole, Thespian's stage, Sinkhole Yavimaya, and pass. So my opponent loses 2 immediately, and then they can decide whether or not it is worth some more life to look at more cards with Sylvan Library. They say no. Fuck. I mean, obviously that was something that I was worried about earlier in the game, right? So the knight just takes me out. Yeah, my cards lined up very unfortunately versus my opponent's draw. Like, my sinkholes theoretically do things, but not this time. So, probably in just most of the sideboard. The discard is pretty bad here. We're trying to play to the board as much as possible. Is it 3 sinkholes? Might be 3 sinkholes. It could also just, like, not be 2x of these. The classic mono black cards not getting the best showing so far today. But then we will get paired against combo, and, like, Thoughtseize him plus Sinkhole will hopefully feel pretty good. Oh no, opponent is going to 5 here. I have a pretty reasonable opener. If my opponent has the Noble Hierarch type creatures, I've got that covered with Bowmasters. I can Spellbomb, which probably just ends up cycling in the... fuck. I got talking. I was supposed to play that on turn 1. Alright, opponent passes. I'm just going to hold up these here. I should have a Spellbomb in play that I should be able to cycle, but that's fine. We'll call it even for my opponent mulliganing to 5. Volrath's Stronghold. I don't even think I want to play this yet. This doesn't have any fuel yet. I'm gonna just play conservatively here. My opponent is not using their mana, and I am making land drops, and they aren't. I think that is a positive for me. Yeah, I'm not gonna cast this Bowmaster. I am going to feed something to a Swords to Plowshares. This doesn't actually die to Bowmasters. I could sack my Spellbomb, but that's a little awkward. I think I'm just gonna keep passing. I will play my first Bowmaster at my opponent's end step if they don't take any game actions. When I have the second one, I think I am okay starting to pick that fight that way. Bing. Then opponent can fetch. And that's it. I'll go ahead and get in there with combat and see what happens. Yeah. It is the opposing Bowmasters. Opponent will ping my Bowmasters. And then I will ping their Bowmasters. Yeah. I still get to get in for 2, unless my opponent wants to just chump block, which they don't. Then I will go ahead and Dark Ritual and play this. Now I've wiggled to a spot where I have a solid board while my opponent is very taxed. They get 1 white or black spell per turn because of these lands. Oh wow, do they want to time walk themselves to put that back on top? They do. Maze of Ith. Pretty good versus this. Note that I'm fine with letting them get their thing back. I want this to be a card at some point. So send it, send it. I'll get 2 points of damage in here, which is, whatever. I think this is fine. I wouldn't go so far as good, but I think it's fine. Opponent loses 2. Now I'm just hoping to overload Bowmaster plus Maze of Ith. And my opponent is probably somewhat constrained on being able to play multiple spells. Again, there are 3 utility lands on board, and only 1 land that produces white or black. The Liberator. That's a way for my opponent to produce multiple cards in the same turn. They can still Bowmaster now. Talon Gates. That's technically colored mana. It's just kind of sad colored mana. And they are going to go ahead and Bowmaster before I can Spellbomb in response to their nonsense. The basic swamp is not what I am looking for. I think I am fine with everybody getting in there still. Maze on the Goyf. Opponent takes 6. Going to 6. I don't think I need to cycle the Spellbomb right now. I could, and I think it would be fine. So opponent goes to 4. Sholdred eats them alive in 2 draws. That is a Swords on Sholdred. That is very good. I might want to crack Spellbomb here while I still gain some life off Sholdred. This currently can't attack in anyway. Yeah. Thank you, Chromux. You're right on time. And that ping is going to my face. So this will be 27 when the stack has fully cleared. That is 6. The retrace on Swords to Plowshares is very good versus my board. Opponent could have choose to attack here, destroy my Chromox, and then maze their Trap Breaker. They're going to do one better and do the attack with both. So I only get to block 1, and they maze that 1. Seems good. This is unfortunate. If I just keep drawing mana sources and bottom out, I can lose this game. Alright, opponent is just gonna chump, and I'll pass the turn. So 6 gets the on attack trigger that mills. My opponent misses. I'm still just taking 5 damage here. My block's not great. So that's Outland Liberator from Graveyard, using 6's ability, discarding Dark Depths. That is a Ratchet Bomb effect, which is sort of awkward here. I'll send in, my opponent will maze. Yeah, playing this out is not good. I can play 2 cards to make my opponent have to sacrifice this, but that's not actually that big of a deal. I think I'm just going to hold this on the off chance that I can play it and kill an Orc Army token and get in for lethal if things get super weird for some reason. So my current issue here is that if my opponent hits lands with this, they just get Swords to Plowshares. They missed on it. I will block a thing that does 3 instead of a thing that does 2. And then maze happens. Maze is tapped. Goyf can, in theory, attack. There's a Sylvan Library. And that's an Orcish Bowmasters from Graveyard. And that has to be done during their turn. Well, there's Phyrexian Obliterator. I can attack and make my opponent chump with something. I think I just want the extra body back. We are currently playing towards timing out my opponent. I think this is a game 2. So if I either stall out this game or win this game, we're just going to win because my opponent has been playing slowly. I think they are very, very much a favorite to win this game, right? Like, just hitting a land, 2 Swords to Plowshares from the graveyard and remove Obliterator is incredibly strong here. It is a White of the Reliquary instead. And no attacks. Go for the Throat. This is where I want to Sinkhole to destroy Maze of Ith and then just send in for 5. So I think I am going to Filigree Silex, destroy both of these tokens, and then crash in and see what happens. Yeah. Alright, obvious thing happened. An opponent is going to lose a Bowmaster. I gain some life. The 3rd card down on my opponent's library right now could be a land. I think I'm going to take out the white. I don't think that's good enough to Volrath's Sanctuary back. 6 might be. Weird Magic game. Ooh, Grist is very good. Grist gets to sacrifice probably Outland Liberator to destroy Phyrexian Obliterator, and then 6 can attack in. Yep. And if 6 attacks in and hits a land, I lose my Goyf. Opponent is attacking in with both creatures. Alright, they hit Bog. I'll take some damage. Oh, that is not the correct line. We'll take that. I will send at face, which is lethal. My opponent will maze. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn, but do some stuff here. I'm going to let the Sylvan Library trigger resolve, and then go for the Throat 6. Hope that the card drawn is not a land, but I don't want to do this on my own turn and then just have my opponent Volrath Stronghold it back up to the top of the deck immediately. The Grist is going to do a good job of burying me, though. This is where I need to just top deck something like the One Ring that actually gives me some card advantage. It is a basic swamp instead. Send in at your face and get mazed. Now opponent can Volrath Stronghold the 6 back. There is a Knight of the Reliquary, which honestly is not as big as I would think it would be for this stage of the game. So I lose my creature. The Grist is gone as well. Thank you, deck. And we get the win on timeout in game 2. Not really how I like to win games there. But that one is on the opponent. They had triple the clock. They had used like 3 times the clock that I had in this game. So GG, I suppose. If there is a ring in my top couple of cards, I still think I legitimately win this one. Bleh. We have sort of a medium opening hand here. I am probably going Swamp, Chrome Mox, Imprint, Dark Ritual, and then playing one of these 2 cards. There's ordering to think about there. I suppose there's also the timeline where I do both on turn 1 and I get rid of my Go for the Throat. I don't hate that. Dark Ritual, Dauthi, MU. We have a blue deck. My Go for the Throat is probably reasonable here. Bowmasters, that's sort of interesting. I'm going to do this. I think I'm just going to cycle immediately because of opposing Bowmasters. I don't want to do something that can kill my Dauthi Voidwalker if I can avoid it. Yeah, and this was literally the card that I was looking for when I made this line. Thoughtseize, target you. What if we find a big monster? Cecil? Oh, this is the transform one. Do I just want to take the removal spell for Dauthi? Yes. I don't like how this game is shaping up, though. I think there's a decent chance that I lose this one. This just transforms into a 4/4 lifelinker eventually. Hopefully we just find a removal spell and make that not matter. So I take 2. Then opponent takes 2, and Tamiyo gets played out. Hell yeah. There's One Ring protection from everything. There is no counter spell under there right now. And I have to worry about this becoming a 4/4 lifelinker. So if I attack, this becomes a lifelinker. Weird, so I guess I don't attack. I think I'm going to let the attack go through. Vessel triggers, opponent loses 2 life, and then gets the 4/4 lifelinker version. And then I'll go to my turn, where I have missed on something that answers this. I think I'm going to pass the turn and then Bitter Triumph it. Yeah, I think that's my plan. So while that's on the stack, I'm going to fire this off at Cecil. Notably, I am a One Ring deck, which is why I made the land drop, rather than just save the swamp to discard. I will need to either draw something that answers Tamiyo or draw a One Ring or a Goyf or something in the next couple of turns, or I'm going to just woefully fall behind in this game. Cecil uniquely poised, damn it, to take advantage of my aggressive Dauthi Voidwalker start. So Tamiyo Planeswalker is now happening. I was kind of hoping that I would get to Dauthi a Bowmaster. Yikes. Sure. That didn't happen. You're late to the party, but there's still stuff with void counters on it that I could potentially get. So, creature Tamiyo gets to attack. Planeswalker Tamiyo might just minus and get back Bitter Triumph and keep the board clear. Yikes. So I am at 8. My creature gets stunned. Tamiyo pluses. So now my opponent can stun this again. Plus this, and I'm pretty much donezo at that point. I'm okay throwing in the towel there. So this is going to be that thing again where we board in most of the sideboard. We are not playing matchups where attacking the hand and lands are super reasonable. Like, versus our slower up the beanstalk decks, like, this is great. Versus our Urza Saga decks, this is pretty reasonable. But that's not what's happening. How do I feel about, like, Sinkhole versus Thoughtseize? Kind of like Sinkhole versus Clues. It's just, like, really bad when I am behind on board. Not that Thoughtseize is great when I am behind on board either. I think I'm going to Sinkhole when I am on the play, and Thoughtseize when I'm on the draw. This is fine. This is going to kind of end up like last time, though. So we'll make our land drop and pass. Misty. Into a 1/2 Goyf. That's fine. Whatever spell I play second here is going to be Dazeable. I think I very much would like to resolve this one. And this either kills a land or takes a land out of play. Kills. So now I would say I have the slightly better board. I have reasonable cards in hand. Maybe I get to do some crimes with Bowmaster. Wouldn't mind drawing another Sinkhole. My creature has Shadow, which works both ways, so I don't get to block there. Is my own Goyf. Just gonna go ahead and send on in. 16. Land drop. I am fine taking 1 here. I'll go to 18. Planisphere is for a 1/1 hero? Yes. Now, if my opponent has a counterspell or any free spell here, I don't actually get to kill this hero token. Yep. And that's fine. Goyf seems good. Punchies. Or 3. And then I can, in theory, throw out removal spells the next 2 turns. 2 mana, seems like with additional cost. So this is probably that, what is it, Bitter Betrayal, Bitter Triumph. Junking my Goyf. Opponent hits me for 4. I will keep Goyfing until morale improves. And I will send in for 3. Opponent's at 10. You have robust lands. I don't think I block this if it attacks. There's Cecil. No attacks. Lifelink plus this is kind of cool. Alright, sacrifice a creature token, would you? Bowmasters in response. That's a little awkward. I think I'm going to say that resolves. You ping me. Then I'm going to Dauthi Voidwalker and do my own Orcish Bowmasters. and ping your Orc Army token so that you can't sacrifice it. But now the hero token has to go down. I will send in with my 4/5 Goyf. Cecil eats it. Oh shit, that has Death Touch. Oh, it does cause my opponent to lose life. I forgot about Death Touch on that. So worried about the lifelink side. I presumably needed to navigate that turn differently then. Yeah, I'll take 2. Ooh, no. This doesn't targeted kill that. Uh-oh. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. I wonder if I punted this one by forgetting that Cecil has Death Touch. Alright, opponent sacrifices the Bowmasters. Which is good for me because the One Ring is my way back into this game, as is the case just about every single game, where I am running out of gas in the mid-game here, and then really desperately need it to refuel. I'm at 13. Opponent's going to start gaining life. Misty and pass. That is not the One Ring. I'm not going to chump this. I think opening up my opponent's cantrips is a bad idea with Planisphere in play. Opponent's got another game action here, probably just a Surveil land. This is a lot of damage. So I am at 7. Opponent's life total is going up. Oh, they hit Bowmasters and Brazen Borrower. They took Bowmasters. That means my One Ring is not very good anymore. So I lose Bowmasters. I am probably facing lethal damage. And I bottomed out. GG's. I obviously made a mistake with the Cecil turn, but like looking at how this has spiraled, I don't think I was winning this one. Alright, I am probably in for this. I almost wish I was on the draw so I would get an extra card and then Dark Ritual, Thoughtseize, Sinkhole your land. I don't. I think I'm going to do this into this. I don't think I want to Dark Ritual again just to be able to Thoughtseize and take a removal spell. Verdant Catacombs, Basic Forest, and a Dryad Arbor. I think I am okay with using the Dark Ritual this turn. I'm going to Thoughtseize my opponent. It's a bunch of mana. I think I'm going to take the white here. I'm going to Sinkhole the forest, I think. This dies to Bowmasters, which I might hit here. Get another Goyf. Okay. Play land, play Spellbomb, and pass. So there's an untapped green land, unfortunately for me, which means that my opponent can vomit out multiple different little friends and potentially chop block with them. I'm going to send in 4/5. Opponent takes it. Let's hit a Bowmaster. I don't have fucking Bowmaster in game 1, do I? Dauthi? Dauthi. For mana efficiency and unblockability. Play a second one of these. There's the Swamp. Green Sun for Grist is live. It's Green Sun for 4 instead. Undermountain Adventurer, Questing Beast, Creekwood Liege. Opponent wanted to show off their tech. I feel like Green Sun for 3, 1, 2, 3, leaves a creature untapped. Grist minus, kill one of these, kill a Goyf. Jump block Grist. Puts you in a reasonable position. Alright. So again, we are just running into this. I would like to play all of these cards. My hand disruption, I think, is going. Natural Order, in particular, is one thing that I would like to stop from hand, but I think it is just more important to control the creatures in the early game. I want Sinkhole for Cradle. I will play 3 of them. It is possible that on the draw Sinkhole is too slow. This is very mid. This is maybe slightly better than the last one. I'm going to get rid of Dauthi here and keep Sholdred, despite it being more expensive. So opponent fetches, and it is a Thoughtseize instead of a Mana Dork. Yeah, Thoughtseize on that first 5-land hand would have been devastating. Drawing the Bowmasters to be able to ping whatever 1 or 2 drop that my opponent plays is really good. Yep. Now I'll make my land drop. Nice. And get a Mana Dork. Hiya. Land drop 3 from the opponent. No further plays. Things like endurance exist that I don't have an immediate answer to. So I think I am just going to play this. Alright, good called shot on my end. Opponent nukes their own graveyard, but that does put some kind of bad cards back into the deck. I am a 1-2 right now. Never mind. Endurance attacks, I think I will just take that. I think in terms of role, I am still the beatdown. I'm going to send in. This gives my opponent a chance to play Bowmasters if they have one. They didn't. So I think in that case I get the One Ring going. Try to set up One Ring Shouldered as my inevitability for this game. Oh, do you actually have Bowmasters? No, it's just a Surveil land. Sure. Alright, protection from everything. Draw my card. Make a land drop. That's a Hierarch. A new Endurance, which my opponent is choosing to play out at sorcery speed, rather than threaten Bowmasters and give me some degree of doubt. I don't think I like that. I'm good with just executing this air quotes combo. Sure. I did not get the mana source that I wanted to be able to play removal immediately. Hopefully I don't eat natural order here. Opponent loses 2 to that draw. Grist is very good. So opponent's probably going to sacrifice their mana dork, kill my Sholdred, and then I will just fire off double removal spells on Endurance and kill Grist. And this is fine. Yeah, an opponent is holding back defensively for Grist. Yeah, that's just a land. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Endurance is not an outlaw. On the off chance that there's some sort of Fatal Push card, I am going to attack Grist with 2 bodies here. Just be fully safe and pass the turn. There's go for the throat fodder. We'll do that at end step here. Lose 3. Make land drop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sholdred. I imagine that's enough from my opponent. Well, this deck functions really well when it has the One Ring. But this is match 4, and I believe every single round we have sideboarded out the classic mono black stuff for Pile of Removal and Orcish Bowmasters. So draw your own conclusions. Alright, opening hand is fine here. I think my opponent tends to play either Goblins or Doomsday. It is Goblins today. I don't have a removal spell for Goblin Lackey here, so that is the thing that is going. And then hopefully I sinkhole my opponent off of one of their lands, and they don't have a lot going on for a while. Cavern on Goblin. And I think I am just going for it immediately. And then hopefully I stick this and spiral it to a win. Chromox. And imprint the Dauthi. This is a matchup where, like, the Spellbomb being colorless is, like, clear anti-synergy with Chromox. So, opponent blue? Oh, okay. That just represents any random color. I mean, that's very good versus my Goyf. So, if I attack, my opponent blocks, I gain 3 life, but they get a Goblin. They're going to get that Goblin anyway. Okay, so I think I go Yaw, cycle, found a new one. This is a 2/3, but a creature is about to die. Give my opponent the Goblin. I guess I could have Thoughtseized before attacks. But I think I'm just taking a creature. I might just take Boggart Trawler and try to keep these other creatures from coming in the short term. But Broadside is one of my opponent's few ways to actually answer these in the long term. I think I'm just going to take that. But I could see that decision reasonably going either way. Alright, opponent is passing the turn intending to play Munitions Expert. I can just waste my opponent's mana by not sending in with this immediately and playing another one or a Sholdred. I think I'm going to do that. Because now the Munitions Expert isn't good to play, so I just kind of time walk my opponent and get a Goyf on the board. Another Mog War Marshal. Very annoying against what I am doing here. No instant in graveyard yet. Sorcery, yeah. Okay. Throw those to 4/5s. Play Sholdred. Now opponent has probably the choice to go block. Oh, they are going to let me hit once. So, yes. I miss on creatures. Munitions Expert can now kill one of my creatures. It might be the Shouldered. We'll see. Opponent did not do it prior to draw step, which probably means that they're going for a Goyf. Boggart Trawler is finally played out as a land, and it is a Goblin Matron or Skirk Prospector. That represents very scary things next turn. And I whiffed on the Goyf trigger. I whiffed on my draw. So I'll hit my opponent down to 7, which is effectively 5. And then I'll pass the turn. I think my opponent is trying to put Muxus into play and just hope that that gets there. So there's Prospector. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's another Mog War Marshal first. That's even better. So this is going to leave a black mana up to be able to Munitions Expert. And we'll just see how good this is. Wow. Insane. Absolutely insane. I think I die on the spot. The Kiki Jiki is going to end up being very, very gross here. And so now my opponent is not only getting got like mana when they do their sacrificing, but they are also getting to look at more cards. Oh, that's the haste. I'm at 36, but I should still just like very, very easily be dead here. So that's a sharpshooter. That's not exactly crazy here. Well, I guess the pings will add up, right? So like, ping me, sacrifice a ringleader, ping me, play something. It might be more damage than I think. All right, Muxus triggers. I am at 4. Okay, so the sharpshooter can just ping, sack, ping, sack, ping, sack, ping, sack to finish it off. I think the killing me part was accomplishable any number of different ways. So we honestly lost this game to Mog War Marshal hard countering my Goyfs, sort of humorously. And I'll die a few clicks later. GG's. This has been every round. Is board in the cards that look like this. That is 9 cards. My Spellbombs are worse here. This technically does stuff, but it's slow. I don't know that I'm excited about that. I think I'm going to keep 1 him in respect of getting Muxus out of hand. Opponent's build is sweet, though. I am going to keep this. This has game versus small goblins early on, and I can potentially Dauthi into him and do something gross like steal a Muxus. Mountain into Lackey. Means I'm absolutely just getting the value that I was hoping to get from my hand. Sheoldred's Edict also like not the best versus my opponent's deck. A body that produces multiple token bodies afterwards. Pretty good. Munitions Expert is a thing. Send in. Opponent takes some damage. And I'm going to get this started. I think the him gets better if I wait. Opponent fetches. It is indeed Munitions Expert. Opponent takes out the token rather than the Bowmaster itself. Shot and port, Skirk Prospector. I will take 1. Opponent ports me. I will Bowmaster to use my mana. I will attempt to kill Skirk Prospector. My opponent can sacrifice it so that I don't get the token. And they do. I hit a land that is worse than Swamp. I'll still play it out. I don't need my own Skirk Prospector. I will send in for 4. Broadside, pretty darn good here. I'm going to block. I am fine making that trade. Then my opponent can't throw that at Dauthi, or I save a life. 17. Proven instantly worse than Swamp. Fuck you, Takenuma. Yeah, now I don't get to double spell this turn. It's like so much worse than the basic Swamp. Alright, please sacrifice a non-token creature. I'm just not willing to risk that thing getting out of line. Like, as much as I want to play Dauthi and him at the same time, I think I just need to not. War Chief, sure. I'll take 2. Oh, that's great. Go to Punchies, send in for 2. Opponent's at 9. Play Dauthi, and him my opponent's last 2 cards. It was double Goblin Matron, so they're not good things for me. But my opponent having double Matron with costs reduced would have been pretty bad. Ooh, opponent staying on the beatdown. Okay, not fully. I'll take 3. I have no choice in that. I'll get ported. I don't really want this creature to die. I don't want to give my opponent more looks at something busted. So I think I'm just going to attack for 3 and then attack for 6. And the shadow is effectively unblockable. Opponent can't Muxus. Alright, there's the concession. Feels about right. Hymn to Tourach was obviously very good that game, but I think the speed is relevant for disrupting initial, like, turn 1 Goblin Lackey nonsense. This hand does nothing. This hand has a plan. But I can get run over by Goblin Lackey into Muxus here. I don't stop that with this hand. There's the fetch. Fuck. Did not get bailed out. Here's Goblin Lackey. Trigger. Oh, it's just a Trash Master. That's like totally fine. The Destroy artifact. What is the timing of this? Until the end of your next turn. Okay. It's still probably Lackey. Let's get rid of it. Trigger, revealing Munitions Expert. I'll take 6. Alright. So now I'm in the same spot where my opponent is stuck on mana and can't deploy cards, so it is probably correct to hit this Lackey, but that means that I am taking a lot of damage still. Trigger. Jiki, that's not castable. I'm at 7, which is not the best number for One Ring purposes. Alright, so there's the Munitions Expert, which deals damage to creatures, can't hit players. That's pretty darn good. I think I have to deploy this, though. I think I need to get this going and start drawing the cards off of it. Okay, Sheoldred is awesome. Sheoldred One Ring is a death-touching body to take one of these off the board, plus a decent amount of life. That's assuming my Sheoldred lives. Things can happen. Ooh. Let's find a removal spell for that. Yeah, I need to, or I die to this attacking, plus that being thrown at my face. What if I Sheoldred and gain 4? I am at 10. Do something like block this. Take 4, 8, 9, 10. Fuck. I could go for Goyf plus removal spell. My opponent throws the thing that I block. Okay. So let's hit Dark Ritual plus 2 mana removal spell. Here we go. Dark Ritual, which I will do. And then I haven't mathed this out, but I imagine that I'm still dead. Opponent loses 2. Another Horde Master adds a lot of damage to the board. Alright, opponent attacks. Munitions Expert is getting thrown at Goyf. So this is theoretical lethal. So I'll block there, take 5. Do the Death Touch thing. Opponent hits Goblin Lackey. Hate that. Lose 2. Draw cards. Bowmasters doesn't kill stuff anymore. I will go land drop. This is obligatory. Do this, get protection, draw my card. I could Obliterator. That probably ends up under a Chrome Mox, though. If I do this, a Lackey dies. I am always dead to a Broadside Trigger. Need to gain a bunch of life with Sheoldred and continue to chain rings. Yeah, I am going to do this, and hopefully my opponent can't play all of their cards. Ooh, it was not the Lackey. That 2 Mog War Marshals? No, it was Mog War Marshal, Cavern of Souls. Okay. It is Goblin Matron, which can just get another Broadside. Okay, Scarp Prospector. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so we have to do One Ring crimes. Those are not One Ring crimes. Draw a card. I could get back a Sheoldred, but it's a little late for that. The Broadside attack and throw trigger kills me no matter what, so I can play out a couple of creatures, but it is not enough. We get run over by goblins. I think literally with one more turn to be able to go for the throw at the initial Goblin Lackey, I can maybe stabilize that game. GG's. Well, Terry, we tried for that classic mono black feel, but as it turns out, There are just so many sources of card advantage in Legacy now that trying to play this game of obliterating your opponent's resources with Thoughtseize into him is just a lot worse if for 1 mana a Tamiyo can undo a bunch of spells that you played. Or similarly, an Urza's Saga is a lot of value, or a Goyf that sticks on the other side of battlefield is a lot of value. And many of the decks that we played against were low enough to the ground, it could operate on few enough resources that Sinkhole did not permanently take them out of the game. In either all or damn near all of the matchups, I just boarded in the removal spells and the extra creatures in the place of the discard and land destruction. I don't think this deck had enough card advantage. I thought 8 with the One Ring and Goyf would be enough. Maybe we needed a couple of Dark Confidants. Maybe we needed a couple of Darksteel Augurs. Just something else to keep the cards flowing. Had I not been asked to play a bunch of Graveyard Hate in the main deck to address the current metagame, I don't think I would have played these 6 cards. And I think I would have played more removal spells in the main deck. Like, you can maybe make a control deck that is mono black that ends in this, and I think you want the 4th Shouldered after seeing how it performed. But I think the removal spells need to be in game 1, and then you address graveyards appropriately in the post-sideboard games. We did encounter a surprising number of niche things that hard countered what we were doing. So like Cecil hard countering the Dauthi Voidwalker start is not something that would happen very much in Legacy. Mog War Marshal hard countering Goyf is not something that would happen very much in Legacy, but we hit those today. And I guess that's part of what makes Legacy great, is even if the metagame is dominated by something, there's still a lot of other things running around. So this was an enjoyable league, but we were fighting uphill during this one. And with that, I'm going to call it a day here. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and if you have any thoughts about the deck construction or the format, throw them down in the comments below. See ya!